welcome to the one and only Team 2.
G'day guys, how are we doing? Welcome to Talking Boxing. It is Monday, September the 1st, 2025. And as always, plenty to talk about. Not so much happening in the ring over the last sort of 7 days, but plenty going on outside the ring. So I'm sure you'll all have your say. And if you haven't been here before, of course, it's called Talking Boxing. If you want to join the show, obviously, if you just want to watch, that's fine. But feel free to put a comment, question, remark, whatever it might be in the chat, which is whichever way it is, whichever way you're looking. And let's talk some boxing. So let's get into it. And also, thank you also to our Spotify listeners, by the way, that we get a lot of those that listen after the fact. So I really appreciate you guys tuning in as well. All right, let's start with Big J. What do we got there? Do you see the current affairs segment on Shanika Johnson last week? Nice to see boxers getting some mainstream coverage, but seem to forgot her OnlyFans as one of her many side hustles. Okay, well, I didn't actually see the interview or whatever it was. I saw a preview for it. A few social media sites were sharing it around. I didn't see it. BJ, but look, I can imagine what it was all about, all sort of lovey and dovey and, all girl empowerment, all that sort of stuff, and that's fine. She did a great thing winning the Undisputed title. Good luck to her. But yeah, they didn't mention the OnlyFans, which is a little bit strange, but I don't think, is it anything to be ashamed of? I mean, I'm not sure why they didn't ask her. I mean, it's a living, making probably good money. She probably makes more off OnlyFans than she does in the ring, so... yeah, I'm not sure why they wouldn't have. Maybe she just forgot to mention that, Big J. Although I'm sure they've seen the weigh-in pictures with, do you have just body paint or something on? I don't know. But good luck to her. Getting a lot of exposure. I suppose the question comes, though, is that, while if Shanika Johnson's getting 60-minute stories, well, where are the stories for the other guys? But look, no use even asking that question, guys. Don't ask where the Jaya Pataya story is. It's not going to matter, okay? Don't ask where the Liam Paro story is. It ain't going to happen. That's a current affair, and those types of shows are all about different storylines, different agendas, and all that sort of stuff. And this makes a really good story. The background of Shanika with the New Zealand heritage and coming to Australia and the amateurs and then into the pros and winning on the biggest female card of all time in Madison Square Garden in New York. It's a great storyline, Big J. And unfortunately, just a gun boxer from, New South Wales, now Queensland, winning world titles and being on the cusp of being in the pound-for-pound top 10. That's not a good storyline, Big J. Bite your tongue. But yeah, no, I didn't say it, mate, so I really can't comment too much on it. All right, we'll still stick with Big J. I've got your comments up here. All right, also, do you think that if No Limit had Jaya Pataya that he would sell? Speaking of Jaya Pataya, at the moment, he's not selling well, but if with No Limit, would he take over as the face of boxing? Well, the short answer to that, BJ, is yes, 100%. And this has got nothing to do with the managerial or promotional job that Tasman Fighters or even Eddie Hearn and everyone involved has done for looking at you, Big J, for Jaya Pataya. But they can only do so much with the attention they're given. And the problem is with DAZN, that is just full of, well, the people that have that are boxing fans already. So they all know what's going on and they either watch it live or on repeat or they get the pay-per-views, whatever it might be. The problem with not being on, with Foxtel is that no one else sees it except those boxing fans, the hardcore boxing fans that have a DAZN subscription. Now, if you have Foxtel, you will see that if you're just watching, I don't know, Seinfeld on the Comedy Channel or a movie on Movie Extra or whatever the hell it is, they have the ads going constantly about the pay-per-views. And they do a really good job with the little promos they do. that would expose Jai to a whole new audience. They go, geez, this guy looks all right. Yeah, I'm not really, a regular buying fights, but it looks pretty good. I'm going to buy that fight. And really help his profile by saying that, the Jai Pataya, pound for pound, one of the best in the world's best cruiserweight, blah, 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 blah. And then, unfortunately, when it's on DAZN, they don't get that. I don't really see any previews. Not that I really watch DAZN, except if there's a fight on. And I don't think many people do they? But you're not getting the roll through of, or the run through of his highlights and the promotional promo they do for the fight. Whereas with Foxtel, whether it be Sam Goodman or Liam Wilson, Liam Parra, whatever it is, all these constant ads. The other thing that you do get if you're with No Limit is you get that, is it News Corp or News Media, whatever it is, Herald Sun and the Daily Telegraph, all those major newspapers that are aligned with No Limit, part of the package, I'm assuming, they get just constant stories every single day, multiple stories every single day. And of course, Jai Pataya might get 1 or 2 mentions in the lead up to a big fight, but that's about it. So to answer your question, BJ, yeah, 100%. He was with No Limit. He would sell, and I think be probably 5 times a bigger name. But again, that's no slight towards Mick Francis and Tasman and all involved, because they do as best they can. It's not their fault if the mainstream media don't really want to roll with them, and they're not getting the run through with Foxtel. Now that might change, obviously, at the end of the year when the two come together. Maybe that DAZN. I think what's going to happen with that, from memory, I was told how this is going to work, and I'll try and remember if this is correct. But apparently, DAZN will continue to be a streaming app, but more so for overseas viewers. So if it's in Australia, from what I've been told, I hope I'm right about this. I want to get people's hopes up. But if it's DAZN show, like a Tasman Fighter show here in Australia, it will be shown on Foxtel or Main Event. Okay, so it'll be just part of the whole thing, the whole Foxtel Main Event scheduling. If you're overseas and you want to watch it, you'll be able to watch it on the DAZN app. That's the way I've been told they're going to separate it. So, and this will probably all ties in, I'm assuming, with the No Limit agreement with Foxtel. How all that works, I don't know. Maybe all that's out the window now that they've got a new buyer, a new acquisition. They've come in and maybe all that's gone, or maybe the contract's up. I don't know, but that's what I was told will happen. If it's on DAZN in Australia, it will be on Foxtel and Main Event, and if it's not, it'll be shown on the DAZN app for overseas viewers. So that's what I think. But you're right, mate. He's not selling well. And there's not much. I'm not sure what else they can do about it. I've thought about this, and I've spoken to Mick about it. I mean, there's not much else they can do. I mean, they flood their social media. I'm sure they're all over the media trying to give him a bit of a leg up as far as things goes. But unfortunately, if they're not interested, there's not much else they can do. So, I mean, I was up there for the Ika fight, and that was a really good crowd in there, and the atmosphere was great. But the problem is, you're getting around town. It wasn't really big news. I think there was a lot of people coming in from everywhere else. So, but it is what it is, Big J. I'm with you. But yeah, if it was with No Limit, 100%, he'd sell more. All right. Kel Jane, hi, Kel. What do you got there? Evening, Lynden. Love Monday nights. Thanks, mate. I just want Sam to know I'm forever grateful. Cheers, Lynden. Okay, well, Sam, if you're watching, I'm sure you are. That's great. I think you're referring to the comments that he's posted in previous episodes. So hope all is well with you, Kel Jane. I'm not sure whether you want to be known as Kel or Jane or both, but thanks very much for watching. All right, Big J. Saw your 10-year prediction video, and I have to agree. Once DAZN take over Main Event and Fox Sports, No Limit will be slowly killed off, as everyone will either sign with Matchroom or Tasman. Yeah, no, thanks, Big J. If you didn't see it, it was on one of the walking boxing videos last week, and I just did one of the episodes about where I see boxing in 10 years in Australia. And I must admit, it wasn't an overly optimistic view, I will say. And that might fly in the face of what a lot of you boxing fans out there think. That we're in a wonderful place as far as boxing in this country at the moment. I'm not so sure. I mean, Jai's flying, but what happens with Tim Tszyu? We don't know where he's at. Nikita Tszyu, we still have no idea where Nikita's at, so it's way too early. The fringe guys, I suppose, like a Michael Zarafa and a Liam Wilson and Sam Goodman have all come up short in world title fights. Whether they'll get another title shot and how they will actually do in those title fights is another thing. A little bit of ray of sunshine there as far as Liam Paro goes. He's probably the one that I think can actually get back to a level and maybe get another world title shot. But again, at 147, there's some pretty good guys at 147 as well. So, you know, it is a golden era when I say as far as opportunities goes, but is it a golden era as far as results? That's probably the big question. And that's probably what I was getting at the other day. And I mean, end of the day, our next superstar, you know, might have just taken up boxing. You know, and he might have a 5-year amateur career, and then 5 years into his pro career, we see something. So 10 years is a long time away. But I'm even thinking 5 years away. I'm not quite sure where we'll be. I think we'll have some fighters that are fought for world titles, but I'm not so sure. You know, maybe apart from Jai, who could be having big heavyweight title fights by then. I'm just not sure where the next crop, I suppose that's what you want to call them, are coming from. Or, you know, I mean, you look at, I don't want to be disrespectful to the fighters, but Sam Goodman, I'm sorry, I can't see him winning a world title at 126, or definitely at 122. And I really admired Sam for what he did in that fight with Ball. I was over the moon with his performance, but it doesn't mean he's going to be able to then take the next step and actually win a world title. So the jury's still out. Liam Wilson, he's been in a lot of wars. I'm sure he'll get another opportunity. No limit. One good thing they are good at is getting their fighters opportunities. But again, 130 is pretty tough division. He's already been in there with Navarrete. But hey, good luck to Liam. I hope he does get that shot. Michael Zarafa, well, I think it's pretty obvious where Michael's at. He's been in numerous big fights, hasn't been able to deliver. This is overseas I'm talking about. And in his most recent world title fight from last year, so 14 or 15 months ago, was obliterated in 2 rounds in just a non-competitive effort. So, I think he's been good for Australian boxing, but you got to call it the way you see it. And that's just the way I see it. I just don't see the next star coming through. And as I said, Liam Paro, I'm sure he'll be probably the best chance, I suppose, of maybe going again. But I don't see it. I mean, there's some good amateurs coming through. Callum Peters, of course, still way too early for him. Even young Cooper O'Connell, who's won the World Junior title earlier this year, fantastic. Who knows where he'll go? And Liam Paro is giving him rap. So there's a little bit of hope there, Big J. But yeah, I don't know. For the current crop there, I'm sorry, I just don't see it at the moment. Let's hope I'm wrong, but that's where I see it. What was the other comment there? Once the zone takeover main event, No Limit will be slowly killed off. I don't think that's the case, Big J. I think they'll still be around. And I did follow up that video you're talking about there the next day with just a special, I suppose, portion of that video about the No Limit factor, because I didn't sort of register when I did the day before that. Of course, in 10 years' time, that contract will be up very soon. I don't think they'll be killed off, Big J, but I think what will happen is there'll be a lot more competition. I think the monopoly will be gone. That'll be the first thing I would suggest that the Zone will do with main event. They will come in there and they'll say whatever this contract is, once it's up, it's done. I think No Limit will still play a big part in Australian boxing and the broadcasting side of things. But as I said before, you will see Tasman fighters slip in there / Matchroom. Maybe we'll see, because if it's someone that's actually passionate about boxing and is a boxing person, I said again on one of the episodes last week that maybe you'll see a Wild Fighter come in. Maybe you'll see a Wanderer Promotions come in. Maybe you'll see a Dragonfire come in. I'm just mentioning a couple. Ace Boxing doing their own shows again. So, although they do their own shows, I take that back, but in conjunction with No Limit and getting the TV. So, at the moment, what they've had in the past is with main event, they've had a guy in charge that said, "I'll stuff this boxing. Geez, who wants it? Yeah, they're all right. Just give it to them. Write it off. There you go. Don't leave me alone about it." Now they're going to have someone in charge of boxing who's going to say, "Well, what's this monopoly bullshit you got here in Australia?" The first thing they're going to do is say, "That's it. That is over. We still will support No Limit. We'll give them X amount of pay-per-views and the regular shows they do. They'll have a budget, but I would think it'll be scaled down significantly." And then you'll see Tasman fighters come in, and maybe the others will get an opportunity as well. If the Wild fighters and Wanderers and Dragonfires sit down with that boxing person and present to them, why wouldn't they give them an opportunity? I did say, Big J, I know I'm going to be way behind. I've had about 3 comments so far, and we've been going about 15 minutes, so I'll get there, guys. But and I've sort of lost my train of thought after having said that. But yeah, what the thing is with the promoters out there at the moment, I don't blame them for being a little bit disillusioned with everything at the moment, because a lot of these guys, I've been there myself. I did 21 shows, and 20 of those were all by myself. One of them was with Dean Lonergan with the Jeff Horn and Michael Zarafa fight. The other 20 were totally independent. I know how hard it is to operate with no money, no backing, hard to get sponsors, and you're relying on selling tables to family and friends and everything else, and you're on a budget. You're trying to get marketing for it, but the newspapers and radio, they don't want a bar of it, especially if you're in Melbourne. Had a lot of success when I did the shows in Bendigo and Warrnambool. That was a little bit different. We had a stack of local press, but in Melbourne, there was nothing. We just couldn't get anything. The best I got was about 11 p.m. interview one night on SEN in Melbourne. That was about it. So it's bloody tough. So I don't blame these guys for being a bit disenchanted, but I would be, if I was those guys, holding out a little bit of hope, rubbing their hands together, thinking, well, as soon as this happens, and it might even be happening now, I'm sure they've got a guy on the ground trying to do this now, to get out to those guys and say, okay, well, Will Tomlinson, Wildfighter, all right, we've seen your portfolio there, seeing what you've done, seeing what you're doing. You've got obviously a lot of experience in the sport. We're going to give you a couple of shows per year as well. That's what I hope happens, Big J, to be honest. I don't like the monopoly. I want to see Ace Boxing with their own shows, totally independent. I want to see Wildfighter with their own shows, totally independent. And I want to see Dragonfire, whoever else it is, totally independent and doing their own thing. And No Limit doing their own things as well. And having time to say, well, okay, well, we've only got 2 pay-per-views and 4 regular shows to do for the year, so they can focus everything they've got on those shows, not trying to think 2 or 3 shows in advance and trying to get the pay-per-views organised and trying to get the next 3 shows organised. That's why you see them all spaced together. Like they do a chunk of those No Limit on Fox shows, because it's just easy for them to do it and get it out the road rather than do it monthly. So anyway, that's my 2 cents, Big J. We'll see. All right. Still with you there, Big J. I'm just trying to go in order here for the first bit. All right. Despite No Limit's best effort, besides Tim, they have no bankable star, as Goodman, Zarafa, and Wilson all came up short in the world title opportunities. The No Limit curse continues. Yeah, well, I just sort of touched on that a little bit there, Big J, but you're right. And Tim fought for a vacant title. I'm not sure any of their fighters have actually won a world title against an established champion, Big J. I mean, Tim, he beat Brian Mendoza, fantastic effort, so we're not certainly going to take anything away from Tim, but I suppose you've got to face the facts, and the facts is that he beat Brian Mendoza for a vacant title. So we've had, now Zarafa I don't think was with them, Big J. I don't think you can sort of count Michael Zarafa as part of their stable. I reckon, March last year, I don't think he was signed to No Limit. I might be wrong, but definitely Sam Goodman, Liam Wilson. Who else have they had? Is that about it? I think that's it. Might be missing someone. But yeah, you're right. I'm not sure it's a curse, but look, I don't really even want to have a crack at No Limit about this. One thing they are extremely good at, No Limit, is getting their fighters opportunities. And that's why I wasn't dirty with them at all about what happened to Tim. Hey, Tim's a big boy. Their job as promoters is to get them established, which I think No Limit did a great job with Tim Zhu, getting him established. And I think, just in my opinion anyway, took Tim through the different levels. The Terrell Gorshay was probably the last step towards that world title fight, taking him to America. And I think they did a really, really good job of Tim. And then those other opportunities that they got him, I think they did a fantastic job to get him straight into a world title fight after the first Fundora fight. And just one comeback win after the Murtazaliel fight, they got him another world title fight with Fundora. I think they've done a fantastic job. And Sam Goodman, okay, the Naoya Inoue fight was off the table. Well, you know what? Let's forget about that for a while. And they got him a world title shot within, 6 months of the Naoya Inoue fight falling over, or 7 months, whatever it was. Fantastic job they've done. Liam Wilson lost 2 world title fights, and guess what? They've got him back on the verge of having another world title fight. So I think they do a great job. But probably no escaping what you're saying there, Big J, is the end of the day, the facts are the fighters just haven't been able to deliver when given those opportunities. But that's, if I was George Rose and Matt Rose, I'd be sitting back totally content, saying, well, hey, our job is to get you in a position to get these fights, and then it's on you. And so I don't think they can cop any criticism from that. But I'm with you on the curse there. All right, I'm just trying to go through these comments here, guys. I might go back to the top. Might be a little bit out of order, but we'll see how we go. All right, one more from you, Big J. Just saw that Jazzy Parr will face Mia Solomon on a Sam LeBruna fight card on November 7th. How did No Limit not snap up this fight? Or has Parr left No Limit? Good fight, though. Another win for Sam. Now, strangely you've said that, Big J, because I had a similar message from D-Style today saying, mate, what is going on with No Limit over there? Why am I seeing this very, very good fight between Jazzy Parr and Mia Solomon on a Sam LeBruna fight in Melbourne, at the Melbourne Pavilion, that'll probably be streamed but won't have a massive audience? But on a No Limit show where I've said before, they've got the keys to boxing in this country, and they match her up with the most overmatched fighters you could ever see, and they've got all the resources in the world. I don't get it. I'm not sure Parr's left No Limit. I doubt it, Big J, since she's only just fought on their cards, but it doesn't make sense to me either. And that's the question. Why is Jazzy Parr fighting D-grade fighters on No Limit pay-per-views, and then she goes to Melbourne and fights Mia Solomon on what looks like a really, really good card promoted by Sam LeBruna? Mike, the thing is, I'll say, Big J, this is what I said to D-Style today, and it probably won't go down well with supporters of No Limit. It probably goes against my support of No Limit, but I'll give criticism where it's due, but I'll also give credit where it's due. But in this instance here, I just think what it shows, Big J, is a lack of experience in the boxing industry from the Rose boys. Now, they've done a great job with everything they've done in boxing in this country so far, but I just don't think they have the boxing business brain. They're like, oh, everyone will love Jazzy. We'll get her on. Doesn't really matter who she fights. Everyone loves Jazzy. She's got a great personality. We'll get her a couple of easy wins. No one will really care. You know, they'll fork out the $70. It's great. Now, aren't we really supporting and progressing Jazzy Parr? Well, no, you're not doing her any favours whatsoever. And you're making life very difficult for yourself by your fans out there who all they want is quality cards, and you're giving them shit. Sam LeBruna's been around boxing a long, long, long time. Put on a lot of shows. Now, he would have looked at that and went, all right, well, probably got Mia Solomon on the card. Well, who's the best super fly we can get in Australia? Hey, well, let's go for Jazzy Parr. And what he's probably done, BJ, is said to Team Parr, all right, what's it going to take you to get to Melbourne to fight Mia Solomon on my show? And she's probably come back with a figure. They've probably gone back and forth, and he said, yep, let's go. So, on the other hand, No Limit, with all the resources in the world, have said, no, I think we'll just match her up with a tie that lasts 30 seconds, or an Indian, or whoever it might be. So, hats off to Sam LeBruna, Big Joe. Hats off. And I know the Fathy and Andrew Hunt fighters on that card, awesome fight as well. So, some really good cards. And I think, I haven't got it in front of me, actually. I'll bring it up. I think it's Stephanie Cutting. I think she's on that card as well. So, hey, well done to Sam LeBruna for putting on a very, very good quality card. Now, what did you say? It's November 7th. I'll just have a quick look here, guys. So, yep, Mia Solomon, November 7th. So, I think we've gone over this card, haven't we? Yeah, I think we did last week. So, Stephanie Cutting against Maria Turner. And I think Maria Turner is from Steve Della's gym at the Fortitude Valley. So, some great fights on that card. So if you're in Melbourne around that time, get to that show because it'll be a ripper. But as far as leaving No Limit, I don't know, Big J. But, yeah, it doesn't make sense to me how you can have all the resources in the world and match Jazzy Parr against some homeless person from Thailand when you can have these fights here and have the resources to be able to put those fights on. I don't get it, mate. I really don't. Flash Wilson, how are you, Flash? Hey, champ, mate. So off the back of yesterday's comments about Jeff Fennick being Nikita Zoo's head coach. Okay, that was you, yep. I'm curious whether Tim's time away in Japan will have him reconsider a new head coach himself. So if you didn't see this, guys, I didn't know it was you, Flash, but thanks very much for raising that. Your comments was that Nikita Zoo is actually being trained by Jeff Fennick in the background and Igor just comes in to take over on fight night. I don't think that's the case, Flash. Look, you might know something that I don't, but Jeff Fennick has been the biggest critic of Team Zoo in the sort of the mainstream sort of boxing fraternity, I suppose. I'd be staggered if on one hand he's training Nikita Zoo, and on the other hand he's on the podcasts and on these interviews he does on YouTube, absolutely laying the boots into Team Zoo, calling them clowns. I don't think that's the case, mate. But hey, I'm happy to be proven wrong. That's another question. But as far as your other comment there, do you think Tim's time away in Japan will have him reconsider a new head coach himself? Maybe, Flash. I think it's been really good for Tim to get away. Again, I know he copped a little bit of feedback, I suppose, for not being there for Nikita. I didn't see anything wrong with it. I think he really needs to get his head right, and I think Nikita would have known that and encouraged him to take time away. But one thing about Tim, Flash, overseas, he looks happy. He looks refreshed. He looks like in a good state of mind. And maybe he's over there just considering this. I'm sure he reads social media and all the rest of it. Maybe he's considering it. I strongly doubt he'll leave Igor, Flash. In my opinion, he should. And I did say the other day I think Abel Sanchez would be a fantastic coach for him. That's if he would want the job. But I've got strong doubts, Flash, that Nikita or Tim would ever leave Igor. But we'll see. He's got big decisions to make. And I'll reiterate my opinion. If he doesn't change head coaches, then we'll be back in this spot, exactly where we are now in 12 months' time, wondering where it all went wrong. That's just my opinion. I think it's not too late to have someone else come in, but Tim's going to have to make that really, really hard decision of severing ties with Igor. All right, Drew, how are you there, mate? If people are looking for an all-action blood and guts fight from Crawford and Canelo, they have come to the wrong place. That said, I'm both excited and intrigued about a tactical purist fight. I'm with you, Drew, yeah. And this is probably the same thing as what we had for Mayweather and Pacquiao, wasn't it? I think everyone expected Hagler-Hearns, didn't they? It was never going to happen. I think, look, that fight in particular, Mayweather and Pacquiao, was probably duller than what I thought. I thought it'd be a bit of a chess match. I thought that Mayweather would do exactly what he did in box. I did think, though, that Pacquiao would have more success with his volume punching and the way he's very unpredictable and the way he comes in and throws his combinations. Didn't matter to the genius that is Floyd Mayweather. So that didn't go too different to what I thought. But I'm the same as this fight, Drew. I'm with you. I don't think it'll be a blood and guts fight either. I think it'll be quite tactical, I think. I think Crawford will stand his ground to some extent. I don't think he'll allow himself to just be backed up and be pushed around the ring like a Williams School was and sort of really put on that back foot and made to box from a distance. I think he'll stand his ground to some extent, like Mayweather did. And I think I've commented on here before, that's where Crawford's going to have success. Look at what Mayweather did, and even Bivol did to the same extent as well, is to punch out of Canelo's sequence. So as Canelo's sort of finishing his punches, Crawford's coming straight after him and get him out of his rhythm. And then also standing his ground and not trading with him as such, but just standing there and saying, all right, you want to come at me? I'm going to counter you. I'm going to use my boxing IQ to do my thing, my defense, and I'm going to counter you straight back, and then just a little step off to the side. That's why I think Crawford's going to fight Canelo. I don't think he'll run at all. And I think Canelo will be calculated, but you'll see him throw a few more bombs, I think, this time. I wouldn't be surprised in the first 2 or 3 rounds you see Canelo really load up on some of his shots. It's going to be a great fight. And the good thing about this, Drew, and this is why they call these type of fights super fights, is because of what you said there. Excited and intrigued about what's going to happen. I can see both fighters winning. I can see both fighters losing. I can see different scenarios, but it's one of those things where lots of things are running through your mind, and that's what makes it a super fight when you've got 2 great fighters and you just don't know what's going to happen. And this is what type of fight that is, mate. So I can't wait. But I'm certainly not going to Las Vegas expecting Hagler-Hearns, I can tell you. But I'm more curious. I think we know what we're going to get from Canelo, but I'm really curious to see what we're going to get from Crawford. I think it's going to be an exceptional performance from Crawford. He's just that type of fighter. The way they're talking, Bo Mackey's trainers talking, I think we're going to see a great performance from Crawford. I just don't think it's going to be enough to get over the top of Canelo. But I'm with you, mate. Excited and intrigued. That's 100% me as well. All right. Still with Drew. The one advantage I do think Crawford has over Canelo is footwork. I feel that Canelo's footwork has regressed further over the last few years, and a large reduction of a jab too. Both great fighters. Yeah, it's a good perception there, Drew. Footwork is a big thing, but that's if Crawford uses that footwork. I think he will. But as I said, rather than the side to side, I think it'll just be a little subtle step here, a little turn there, step to the left, and another turn there, a pivot, whatever it might be, just to continually just give Canelo something to think about and offset Canelo just a little bit. I think Canelo's footwork, to be honest with you, Drew, I think he's gotten a little bit lazy because the opponents that he's had, all the fights he's had have been very, very one-sided. And probably no more evidence than that than in the last fight with Williams School. I think he's just gotten lazy. And I think it's going to take a fighter like Crawford, and a lot of people saying that Crawford's going to beat Canelo, a lot of pressure on Canelo to get the smaller man out of there. I think you're going to see a lot better prepared Canelo, Drew. But you are right as far as the jab goes as well. Hasn't used that a lot, and I think that's the same thing. Just lazy. Because I think he's just done enough just to get the win. That's why so many of his fights have gone the distance in the last few years. It's like, all right, well, if you don't want to fight me, I'll just take the payday and won't get in any danger and take any risks. I'll just go through the 12 rounds and win the fight. I don't care. And I think that's the Canelo we've had. But I've just got a gut feeling that this time you're going to see a really switched on Canelo. He's going to really want to try and make an example of Terence Crawford. So, but you're right, mate. Both great fighters. All right, one more from Drew. I had to laugh when you said that 2 middle-of-the-road expired UFC fighters like Till and Rockhold was a pay-per-view event. Dear Lord, some people will pay for anything. Well, I said that this morning, Drew, on Walking Boxing. I don't know who these guys are. Now, I don't really follow MMA. I've got a slight understanding of it because when we put the MMA, the UFC on every month at the pub, I do a little bit of research on who the fighters are and the undercard and that sort of stuff, but I had no idea who these guys were. And I saw it on Main Event because I was just going through the Main Event schedule and I'm thinking, hang on, who's that? That's a pay-per-view? I had no idea who they were, Drew. I didn't know they were UFC fighters. I didn't know, I certainly knew they weren't boxers because I've never heard of them in the past. But the only thing I did know about Darren Till, I had a bit of a look at him on YouTube the other day when the Jaya Pattaya fight was sort of put up there, and I went, geez, what are these people thinking? Thinking this guy's a hope against Jaya Pattaya. But yeah, mate, I'd be interested to see what the figures are as far as the numbers go. Surely it couldn't be many, surely. But anyway. All right, Asbot. Hi all. Seems pretty much split out there over Canelo and Crawford. I'm leaning slightly to Crawford, but ultimately, so long as he turns up to fight, I'll be happy either result. Yeah, I'm not that stressed. If I had to pick one or the other, Asbot, I'm probably Team Canelo. I'm almost like Canelo himself. Take a little bit of offense at Terence Crawford thinking he can go to 168 and beat Canelo. And I've been a big rap for Canelo over the journey. I know, I'm not sure Glenn's in the chat at the moment. I'm sure he'll comment later. Who's a Canelo hater, and that's okay, it's your opinion. But me, I just admire Canelo so much. I know maybe in recent years he maybe cherry-picked a little bit, but he's earned the right to cherry-pick. And I'm sure if you look back through history, all the great fighters of the generations have all cherry-picked at some stage. They're in control. They're in charge. They make business decisions, which is what's best for them, not the opponents out there. So I've got no dramas with Canelo. I just think he's a guy who's fought and beat pretty much everyone that he's fought. And I don't think he's ducked anybody. I know David Benavidez will come up. I just think, maybe, do you call it ducking or do you call it a business decision? Is there a difference? I don't know. But I just think his team looked at David Benavidez and said, yeah, this guy's just all wrong for us. We've got other options. If it comes around, it comes around, but we're not going to go out of our way to fight him. And especially when David Benavidez was so disrespectful to Canelo. I'm not trying to defend Canelo here, guys. I'm sure people are going to come at me about trying to defend Canelo, but he's earned the right to be the A side, so I get it. But I just think Canelo, I just think he'll get the job done. I don't know how he'll do it. I really don't. I think Crawford will have a success. Call it a gut feel. I'm Team Canelo, but I'm with you there though, mate. As long as he turns up to fight, I'll be happy, and I think he will, mate, for sure. All right, I'll keep going there. All right, Tom's dad, Naz. How are you there, Naz? Evening all. I've given up trying to pick Canelo or Crawford. We'll join the club, Naz. We're all in the same boat. But I keep coming back to Canelo being comfortable at the weight. Crawford trying it out for the first time against a bona fide star. Yeah, strange enough, Naz, I'm not that stressed about it. I know, look, the fight that continually comes back in my thoughts when I'm thinking about the fight is Leonard and Hagler. Now, I know that Leonard going up to 160 is nowhere near what Crawford is going up to 168 means for him. So I get it, but and I think Leonard, superstar, Hagler superstar, but it's those feels, I suppose, the vibe I'm feeling is that he can do it, but I'm hoping Canelo can sort of learn from Hagler's sort of mistakes back in the day from 38 years ago, that he's not going to give Crawford too much respect and allow him to dictate too much and just be ready for anything. I wouldn't be surprised, Naz, if Crawford actually adopted a little bit of the Sugar Ray Leonard game plan against Hagler. And that was keep it even for the round till 2 minutes and 50 seconds or 45 seconds, and excuse me, and then finish the round really strong with a flurry and steal the round at the last minute. So conserve energy, because you've got to remember Canelo's going to be banging his arms, his hips, his shoulders. He's going to be banging him everywhere there is an opening to try and slow Crawford down and wear him down. He's a bigger guy. So that's what he's going to be trying to do. So if Crawford can just keep it a distance, keep it even, who knows, maybe he'll adopt that strategy and finish the last 10 or 15 seconds strong and try and steal the rounds. It wasn't a bad strategy by Sugar Ray, was it? So who knows? But I am with you there, mate. I think, at that weight against a bona fide star, it's a big ask, but we'll see. Frankie D, how are you there, Frankie? Welcome to the show. We've got Batman in the chat as well. Hope everyone is doing great. You too, mate. What's he say, Az? But I hear you, Tom. I'm on Crawford for now, but I've been back and forth, yeah. Look, I've always probably stuck with Canelo, but I'm going back and forth about, does Crawford really have a chance to win or not? Of course he does. It's a two-horse race, but I've had lots of things go back and forth about the way Crawford's going to fight and how competitive he's going to be, but I keep coming back to, I just think Canelo's going to find a way to win the fight. But again, I would not be surprised if Crawford wins. G'day, OG. How are you there, mate? Welcome to the show. Drew, again, I'm not quite as staunch on the whole weight issue as most people on the Bud Canelo fight. While Canelo is much more naturally bigger and built like a tank, Bud is smaller with a longer reach. Yeah, I just hope he's done the weight right, Drew. I'm sure he has. I just hope he hasn't just beefed up. I think he's, from what I've sort of seen and read, is that he's spent pretty much the last 12 months getting ready for this fight. I think you get the impression that after the Madrimov fight, it would have been spoken about then about fighting Canelo. Let Canelo get through the school fight, and then I'm sure Turki Al-Sheikh could say, let's talk about it then. I got no doubt he's been starting from then to try and bulk up. So I think he'll carry the weight okay. And you're right, he's taller, longer reach. The big question for me, though, is obviously his strength. Never been a big puncher. I don't think that's a real big factor in the fight for Crawford. My thing is, can he carry that much weight and be able to do what he has to do, to be the Terence Bud Crawford that we've seen in the past? That's the biggest question for me, and that's why I think I still keep going back to Canelo. Furyan Survivor. Just out of curiosity, what are your thoughts on Lucas Brown? Do you rate him? I definitely rate Lucas Furyan. I would probably like to see him retire. He's been in a lot of wars and he's been knocked out a few times. But look, he seems to have his faculties about him at the moment. Not that I'm on social media a lot, but I do follow Lucas, and he seems intent. He's addressed. He must have had a lot of people commenting about why he should retire and all the rest of it. Look, you're a long time retired, so I get it. He seems to have his faculties about him, so good luck to him. The bare-knuckle fighting, though, Furyan, and not just with Lucas, I just cannot get my head around bare-knuckle fighting. I admire those fighters, but I just don't get it. I really don't. To punch on with someone with bare fists, I don't know. I mean, they outlawed it 120 years ago, and here we are back. With it. So I don't know. But yeah, no, I definitely rate Lucas Brown. He won a version of the heavyweight title, mate. So of course you gotta respect him and rate him. But I would like to see him retire. Shadow Boxer. Sugar Neeks has an OnlyFans. I'll be right back. She certainly does, Shadow Boxer. I'm not sure how many people follow her and what she earns. I don't know much about it. I do know that a lot of models and sports people and whoever have it. And I'm not sure what, actually, I'm going to say I'm not sure what's on it. I think I know what's on it. That's why you're paying for it. But I have heard that a lot of them are actually quite respectable, and you do actually pay for the content, but it's almost like a club, isn't it? Like a membership. And they can put on it whatever they want. I think we all just go to a bit of smut, but apparently there's a lot of OnlyFans channels out there that are just people that just show their life and maybe a bit of leg in between. I don't know, but they get a membership out of it. So hey, good luck to them. It's a living, I suppose. A lot of these models and everything are earning millions of dollars every year by doing it. So it's not my thing, but good luck to them. This is one thing that the internet and social media and everything has been good for. It's given maybe women with not much else going for them an opportunity to make some money and be rich. So, all right, Richard, can we get a billboard of Jai anytime soon? That's what UFC do so well. We have some Aussie champions here, and they are everywhere, i.e. Volkanovski. A billboard, yeah, maybe. You mean in Queensland, Richard? I don't know, mate. I haven't sort of seen them up there, but yeah, it'd be great, Richard. I just think that's probably not a bad idea, just to put billboards around. But I think it'd be a lot easier if they could actually get some media attention. But you never know, they could do what the circus does around town and go around all the houses and put the little billboards out the front. I don't know, but a little bit of initiative might be the answer, mate. All right, Drew. Jai Pattaya is only going to be a big star if he continues to add impressive credentials to his resume. Outside of that, he just isn't getting chosen for the push. No, he's not, Drew. Look, he's a big star in boxing, but I think he'd be more of a superstar probably in England or wherever. But I think we've got to be resigned to the fact, Drew, that he's just not going to be a star here in Australia. Just like Liam Paro, just like even a George Kambosos. I know George had a bit of a moment in the sun when he was world champion and fought in Melbourne, 40,000 people, but did struggle after that to draw a crowd. So, yeah, I think it just all comes down to exposure, Drew, and unless those mainstream media channels are getting behind you got no hope, and that's print or the TV. Right, Ado. I was in the Canelo corner for a while, but I'm now leaning more towards Bud outboxing him. Ultimately, it will be up to the judges in the end, as this one will be going the distance. Yeah, I can't see a stoppage, Ado. It wouldn't surprise me, but I can't see it. And surprisingly, if there was going to be a stoppage, I think it could actually be Crawford stopping Canelo, which I think is, a very, very long shot because, Triple G and... who else? The other Bivol and all these big punches haven't been able to hurt Canelo, especially Triple G, haven't been able to hurt Canelo. It always never been dropped or, from what I've seen, even hurt. But you never know. It could be an accumulation of punches that just takes an effect on Canelo. Might cut him up, bruise him up, and just an accumulation of punches forces the referee to stop it. I don't know, but I doubt it. The other way, I don't know. Again, call it a gut feel. I can't see Canelo stopping Bud. I just think Bud's just too good a fighter, too good at IQ. I just can't see it. But you never know. And the thing is, what happens if it goes to the judges? Who would you favour? I think Canelo would be the favourite, wouldn't he? If it was a 50-50 fight, you'd think that Canelo's got slightly just more cred than Bud. But we'll all be revealed in 2 weeks' time, mate. What's that, Richard? Koa Mazudia is fighting on the 25th. Now, that is the Wanderer promotion show, I think, isn't it, Richard? Hang on. What's his name? Koa Mazudia. Geez. I could have picked someone else on that card to bring it up. Where are we? Oh, yeah, there he is. SOG. Is that Son of God as well? He's still in Andre Ward's nickname there, of Cohen. All right. I'll just go. It's a bit slow there. I'll go back to when it comes up there, Richard. But yeah, I think that is a Wanderer Promotions card, isn't it? And they're doing some good things as well. What's that, Ado? Side note: frothy for your upcoming Vegas vlog, Lynden. No dramas, mate. Should be good. I did say on the walking boxing this morning I'm going over there, and I've decided to fly up to Brisbane for starters and meet up with Shannon O'Connell and Cooper O'Connell, who are both going over. So I thought, I know Shannon pretty well, obviously. So I thought I'd fly to Brisbane and go over with Shannon and Cooper and, so I can help them out when they're over there. I think Cooper's going to try and get some sparring over there, and I'm sure both of them will do some work in the gyms over there. So, no, looking forward to it, mate. And as always, I'll be doing the daily vlogs. So tune in. Look, it's probably not going to be overly exciting, Ado, a lot of it, because I'm going to be showing you a lot of Las Vegas like I have probably 2 or 3 times in the past. There's only so much of Vegas I can see, but I'll think of a few different things anyway, Ado. But hopefully, if we do get to the gyms with Shannon and Cooper, then obviously there'll be some footage there. Obviously, fight weeks, festivities as well. I'll be checking out. So yeah, make sure you look out for my vlogs on the trip every single day. All right. OG lights out. Don't worry about Nikita. He 100% will be a world champion. He's 10 times better than Tim. Oh, I don't know, OG. I'm not sure I share the sentiments, mate. Look, maybe you're right. I don't know. But I think we're just getting ahead of ourselves at the moment. We haven't seen Nikita in there with anyone remotely resembling a world-class fighter yet. Until that happens, we can't, I don't think, make assumptions. Look, the thing is, and I hope I'm wrong, and it looks like from the one round that we just seen a couple of weeks ago, he looked a bit more patient and composed. But my questions that I want answered are, what happens when he fights an elite fighter and he gets in a little bit of trouble, gets a little bit fatigued, gets a little bit frustrated? Are we going to see the same Nikita that we've seen against these domestic level fighters who gave him lots of trouble? And I still can't get out of my head, OG, guys like Ben Horn and especially what's his name? The Creati, Danilo Creati, who was just had pillows as fists, rock Nikita and have him in trouble. Same as Cole Mazudia. Credit to him, he ended up getting the job done with all those guys, but I need to see him in with an elite fighter to make an assumption, OG. 10 times better than Tim. I wouldn't go that far, mate. I think Tim is still a fantastic fighter. But the jury's out for me. I'm hoping you're right. But, yeah, I can't sort of support that just at the moment, OG, but we'll see. All right, Naz, I saw Chris Algieri say he's training actors and choreography. Is that what's the word? Doing the what do you call it? Choreography for an upcoming movie about the 84 Olympics USA boxing team on Netflix. Holyfield, Taylor, Whitaker. Can't wait till it comes out. Yeah, I remember talking about that a while ago, Naz. That's probably about 3 or 4 months ago. They were talking about that. And you're right, it's a story about the 84 Olympics and what a team that was. Didn't they win like 7 or 8 gold medals? Just crazy. So is it a documentary or an actual movie, Naz? I thought it was a documentary. Okay, well, obviously, if he's training the fighters, then what an Olympics that was. Holyfield, Taylor, Whitaker, Mark Breland as well. Just a Virgil Hill. Just a great team of fighters out there. Frank Tate was the other one as well, Olympic gold medalist. So, yeah, crazy. OG, if he fixes the defense, he'll be a multiple world champion. It's a big question, though, OG. If he fixes the defense, I think he's got a few other things he needs to work on as well. But, yep, time will tell. All right, Asbot. Be interesting to see Fundora square off with the other big names. 154 might be telling to a certain if he has become the boogeyman or if Tim was still damaged goods when they fought. I think a bit of both there, Asbot. I think he's a little bit of the boogeyman. I mean, geez, he's 6'6" and has a 10-inch reach advantage on most fighters. So I don't know. Look, I think we've still got to look at the Mendoza fight as well. I know he was actually winning that fight, but he still got knocked out. I would still see Fundora behind the likes of Virgil Ortiz, behind Boots Ennis, who's obviously just moved up. I think he'd be a good shot to beat Murtazaliev. Yeah, I don't know. I'd probably put him third in line, I reckon, Asbot. Depends. Take Crawford out of the equation as well. I'd probably have him at number 3. So you're right. It'll be interesting to see him square off with those guys. But I still think Tim was damaged goods, 100%. Look, actually, I think it was a combination of damaged goods, but also just simply being a case of just not quite as good as what we thought he was. That's just it, you know. Sometimes, as we've seen, you can look really good at a certain level, but then you go up a level or two, and it's a different ball game. And unfortunately, I just think for Tim, he was good on the B shelf. Well, the B. But when he went up to a B plus shelf, obviously just not good enough there, and that's still short of the A shelf, which is where the Crawfords and those types of guys hang out, and the Ennises and those types of guys. So I'd still have Fundora as a B plus, but Tim is probably down to probably a B minus at the moment, if not a C plus fighter at the moment. So, but yeah, look, I want to see, not necessarily see Fundora against Thurman either, because that's probably going to be a false economy as well against Thurman. I think he wins that fight. I want to see him against a Murder Zaliova and Ortiz or Boots Ennis. That's when we'll see what Fundora's made of. Excuse me there. All right, Tony. Hello, mate. Your thoughts on this backyard bare-knuckle bash fest that seems to be all the rage with the wannabes at the moment? Seems like it's gaining momentum. Yeah, well, I'm surprised at the moment, Tony, they haven't been able to shut it down. No one's. Surely there's people in the know. People turn up to the event. I cannot get my head around that. No one has spoken to the police or been an informer, or maybe they do know and don't do anything about it. I don't know. I highly doubt it, because I mean it's illegal. They're unlicensed fighters. But I'm not a fan of it, Tony. Look, on one hand, I sort of am for it. It probably goes down the track of the Fight Club mentality. The movie, it gets a lot of people with a few issues out there, whether it be mental or problems on the street or whatever. It might have beefs with people who might have an anger problem. I don't know. But those types of people who, this might be good for, to actually get in there and punch on. But if you're going to do that, why not go do it? Go to MMA or boxing and do it properly. So good in theory, Tony, but I don't like the fact it's unlicensed. These guys, we don't know whether they've got medicals. We don't know whether they're doing proper weigh-ins. We just don't know. We just don't know anything about it. And as I said, it's good in theory, but I just don't like the fact that it's just totally unlicensed. Hey, look, actual bare-knuckle boxing is being licensed overseas, and it's coming to Australia as well. So why couldn't they do this legally and actually have someone from the combat board there and have everyone have medicals and that sort of stuff and do it properly? Could be a whole new format. Backyard bare-knuckle boxing. So there might be a place for it. If there's a place for slapping someone across the face as a sport, then there's got to be room for that. But I do, again, like the idea of it, Tony, but I just want it done properly, that's all. To have the guys with medicals and weighed in properly. And do they have a doctor present? I doubt it. They've got to have that stuff there. I mean, shit, if something happened and someone was knocked out badly and was in a really bad way, I mean, what do? Just everyone scatters and someone calls an ambulance and whatever. So I think they know who runs it. So I'm surprised the police haven't knocked on his door and said, mate, what's going on? But anyway, that's as far as I know anyway. All right. Who's that? Hearns. How are you, Hearns? Welcome to the show. Drew, I just can't see Nikita being a world champion in the future. And if he does, he has a long way to go. For me, he just gets hit way too much and being dropped by a number of domestic guys. That's the way I see it, Drew. I hope I'm wrong. I really want Nikita to be that guy. I really do. He's got so much potential. I think I said last week I saw him as an amateur back in 2014. He would have been a kid. Would have been maybe 16 or something like that. I remember thinking, this guy, oh, geez, wow, just a brilliant fighter. But as a pro, he just hasn't fought that way. He's just more intent on slugging than boxing and using his IQ. If he can get it right, he could be a hell of a fighter, but I just haven't seen it enough. And I don't count the fight from the other week at all. I want to see him in with someone that's even just skirting around the outside of the world rankings and see how he goes. What's that, Ado? Big J and Lynden getting on and agreeing with each other makes me feel a little uneasy. Justin, after spending time watching Moses Otama, Jai needs to stay well away from 6'4" Otama. Jai is hittable and not a big cruiser. Otama KO easy. Jai, won't carry the added weight well, in my opinion. Yeah, no, it's a good alternative point of view, Justin. Like, I'd still like to see it. I'm with you. I'm curious to see what Jai does at heavyweight. Can he carry the weight? And that's probably the biggest question mark for me. He's a brilliant fighter, he's Jai, all the skills in the world, but how is he going to be carrying the extra weight? That's a big question mark. But on the flip side, though, Justin, I mean, Moses Otama, he hasn't really fought anybody yet. I know Dillian White, you could probably count, but, injured, old, over the hill, probably not that interested. I don't know. I just want to see Moses Otama in with a credible heavyweight as well, and I think this fight could be a big fight down the track. But you are right, Jai can be hit, and he's not a big cruiser. I wouldn't go as far as say it's an easy KO for Otama, but definitely a fight I'd like to see, as well as Justice Honey against Otama as well. So, but it's good to get a alternative opinion there, Justin. All right, one for your fights to watch. My favourite fighter, Tony Mad Dog Miller versus Lester Ellis, was a ripping fight. Mad Dog's my favourite back in the day and a great guy as well. Yeah, I actually knew Tony Miller pretty well now. I actually did a lot of rounds with Mad Dog as well. I was only a kid. I would have been 16, 17 or something like that. We had the gym in Bendigo and Tony had come up and spar. I think it might have been 16, I reckon, because it was after he fought Jeff Fennick in Melbourne. He fought him in 87 before Jeff fought Samart Payakaroon. And he came up, and I think he might have been doing security or something in Bendigo from memory. So I'd come up to the gym and I'd spar with him, and he was just, he goes by that name pretty well, Mad Dog. Pretty tough little guy he was, and just as tough as nails. He was Tony Mad Dog Miller. And as you say there, mate, a great guy. Actually, quick story about him. When we were doing some sparring up in Bendigo, and I mentioned to him that when Lester fought Barry Michael, he was on the undercard against Antonio Rivera, the Puerto Rican, who I think did he win the IBF title or fought for it? I think he might have fought for the IBF belt. It might have been against Calvin Grove from memory. But anyway, and I mentioned to him that I actually taped the show that night. I was on the ABC and he'd never seen the fight. So I actually came around to my house and watched the fight at my house. And he was rapt that he was able to see the fight because he'd never seen him before. It would have been maybe 3 or 4 years after the actual fight. So, but as far as that fight goes, Naz, a lot of people saying that Mad Dog actually got ripped off in that fight with Lester. And I probably tend to agree. Very, very unlucky not to beat Lester. And I think, to be fair to Lester, though, it was obviously he'd lost his world title. I think from what I've heard, the motivation levels weren't great. He didn't train a lot for the fight. There was even some talk that maybe he was sort of drinking while he was training, all that sort of stuff. So, but doesn't take away from the fact that Tony Mad Dog Miller, from all accounts, should have got that decision, Naz. But yeah, he was a great fighter. Well, I'm not going to say great fighter. That's throwing around too much. But a great guy and a very, very good and tough fighter that probably doesn't get mentioned enough, does Tony Mad Dog Miller. All right. What's that? G'day, Andrew. How you going there, mate? Welcome to the show. Naz, Oshaki Foster versus Steve Fulton should be a good one. Fulton going from super bantam to super feather, but I reckon he's got the goods. Yeah, I'm with you there, Naz, and that's on the undercard of Fundora and Thurman. Who else is on that card? Jesus Ramos Jr. is in against Shane Mosley, and there's one more fight on there, isn't there, on that card, Naz? Oh, it's all right. No, I've got to look it up now. Who's he fighting? Stephen Fulton. Who am I going to type in there to get this up? Keith Thurman. I've got to look at the one that doesn't get me spell checked. It's 4 fights on the card. So it's Ortiz and Mosley Jr. And you've got this one and the main event. I'm not sure they've even got it on Box Rec yet. Let's have a look. Oh, yeah, they do. Only 3 fights, though. Of course they have. Anyway, there was a 4. Tony Harrison is on there as well. Not on Box Rec at the moment, though. Yep, should be a good card, Naz. It's a PBC. When is it? October 25th at the MGM Grand. All right, Tony. Big chance that Carl Frosch, who turns 49 next year, will fight Darren Till, 32, who was the main event on the Misfits card yesterday. 4-time world champion, Hall of Famer, fighting an ex-MMA nobody. Sad. Yeah, well, yeah, I would hope, geez, 49, geez. You've got a lot better things to do at 49, haven't you? Especially against someone like Darren Till, who's limited, but still 32 years of age. Yeah, I don't know, it's for money or whatever, Tony, but yeah, it is a little bit sad, mate. I would think that Carl Frosch would have a bit more sense than to do that, but anyway. All right, Batman, here we go. The defensive Canelo, his boxing IQ. Canelo has the higher IQ. 3 things I can't wait to see. 1, Crawford's face when he tries to land on Canelo. Yep. 2, Crawford's face when Canelo lands. Yes. And the 3rd, the face of all the media that picked him. It's a great call, Batman. It's really, really good. Is there a flip side? Is there I'm sure someone's I'm sure Glenn will come come to the party soon. But is it the flip side? Is number one Canelo's face when he tries to punch or hit Crawford and Crawford's not there? Just probably being the devil's advocate. Number two, Canelo's face when Crawford lands maybe a combination and then Canelo tries to retaliate and Crawford's not there anymore. I don't know. And the third, the media picking, or maybe it's the flip side as well. I'm just playing devil's advocate here. I'm trying to play Glenn's role. I'm sure he'll be in the chat soon, but good calls though, Batman. Oh, sorry. The end part of that was of all the media picking Crawford once he gets soundly beaten. Yeah. Ado, I think a draw outcome is definitely live in the Canelo-Bud fight. Yeah, another good call. Hasn't been really spoken about, but you never know. Rematch, Ado. Rematch. Batman says he's beating Crawford. Zero doubt in my mind. As I've always said, who's Crawford ever fought to suggest he can beat Canelo? Very good call too, Batman. Again, I'm sure Glenn will be in the chat later and he'll have a bit to say. What would Glenn be saying about now? Who has Canelo ever beat that's ever got him prepared for Crawford? Is that a flip side? I agree with you, by the way, Batman. I'm just trying to have the flip side of other people out there. So who has Canelo beaten that would suggest that he would beat Crawford, I suppose, is the other question. Let's see. He's fought some talented guys, but probably not so much. Well, maybe a Erizandi Lara. I would probably say Lara. I'm just waiting for, but he didn't beat Lara. Well, he got the decision. That's what I'm saying anyway. I would say that Lara, who's more a southpaw, of course, but Crawford does switch. That maybe that's a good preparation, although that was about 12 years ago, a long time ago. But he's also been in there with Mayweather, even though he didn't win. That would have prepared him immensely for Crawford, again, 12 years ago. But Batman, I agree with you, mate. I'm not opposing you at all. What's that? Naz, come on, Glenn. Batman's going on unopposed. And the weight, this is Batman again, and the weight people are wishing on a star, and once Crawford loses, it will be a case where Canelo was always going to win from the same people. That is one thing I will 100% agree on there, Batman, is that if Canelo does beat Crawford, there'll be people saying, yeah, I told you so. Well, what do you expect? He's going up in weight. It means nothing. It means nothing for Canelo's legacy. He beat up a blown up welterweight. It means nothing. If anything, it should go against Canelo because he's beaten up little fighters. And why hasn't he fought Benavidez? He's fighting welterweights instead of Benavidez and blah, 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 blah. That'll be the flip side. So I'm with you there, Batman. It's a no-win situation for him, by the way, but that's why I do admire him for taking it. Having said that, though, I think the payday probably, makes it all worthwhile, don't you? All right, Richard. Boxing these days are all with Jake Paul and YouTubers. I'll give Jake the credit, though, for putting in the training, even though you can't stand him. I can't stand him. No, I can't stand him, Richard. I can't. Now, look, I'm sure he's a good guy. I'm sure he's done some really good things for female boxing and continues to do it. He's brought a lot of eyeballs onto the sport, but I think for the wrong reasons. My issue with him, Richard, is that, and I'm not sure whether it's actually put on or whatever it might be, my issue with him is that he's taken the piss by putting out there he'll fight this fighter and that fighter. I mean, say he was going to fight Canelo and all this sort of stuff. Or maybe it was true, I don't know. To fight Joshua, I just think it's just one big game for Jake Paul. I just don't think he respects the sport enough. Good on him. He's making all this money out of it. Good luck to him. But I just don't like the way he's taken the piss out of the sport, Richard. And just talking crap about you'll fight him and you'll fight him. And, geez, I mean, the fact, what did he say? He beat Mike Tyson, so surely that should prove to everyone that he's the real deal. Come on, Jake Paul. I mean, come on. Anyway, no, I can't stand him, Richard, after all that. Excuse me. All right, Batman. He's had 5 fights in 5 years, beating the one of Avanzazium and Mean Machine types amongst that list. Easy fight, great promotion, but in my opinion, it's going to be one-sided. I think you just put that up there, Richard. All right. I think Carl Frosch will return too. Brad Solitar. How are you, Brad? Welcome to the show. I'm not sure whether you've actually commented before, but welcome. I'm really hoping it's not an organised sparring session. It happens quite a bit in catchweight fights at the elite level. even though it's for the 168 undisputed. Fingers crossed. Oh, it's a good comment, Brad. I don't know. Could it be? Well, I think it's obviously the real deal, but will it be a matter of? Well, it could possibly be the two versions of both fighters that we saw in the last fights. Canelo, who's just unmotivated, who just is happy to follow his opponent around the ring and throw a dozen punches around. Is it Crawford, who's just sort of slowed down a tad? That was at 154. This is at 168. Has he slowed down a tad? Can he not pull the trigger like he used to? Will we get that fight where it's the lazy, plodding Canelo against the faded Crawford who struggles to pull the trigger? Who knows? I hope that's not the fight we get. I'm hoping we get a fired-up Canelo and a well-prepared Crawford. That's what I'm hoping. But again, Brad, I don't think it's going to be... It's not going to be a fight for the ages, I don't think. I think it'll just be a very competitive, tactical fight. And that's probably, as a boxing fan, I'm looking forward to. If you're a boxing fan over there, or maybe a casual, whatever it might be, is tuning in or going to the fight itself and you're expecting that war, you're at the wrong fight, because it's not going to happen. Although you never know. You never know. All right, Tony. I'll move on. I'm not sure. That's the Carl Frosch, is it? Carl. What's that? When Donick Ingle is saying Carl will beat him with only a fortnight's training, that will only inflate Carl's ego. He's achieved so much. I hope he leaves it alone. I'm with you there, Tony. Leave it alone. All right, Big J. Did you know that WWE founder Vince McMahon promoted Leonard versus Lynden in 1988 at Caesars Palace in Las Vegas? I saw a doco on WrestleMania 9, and Vince's involvement in the fight led to getting WrestleMania 9 in Vegas. I didn't know that, Big J. I did see the Netflix documentary about Vince McMahon. I think, what's it called? Mr. McMahon, I think it's called. Really good documentary. Excellent documentary or series, whatever it was. I didn't know that, Big J. Was it mentioned in that, or this is a different promo or different doco? But Leonard Lynden in 1988, that was a massive fight. I remember on the undercard, Vinny Pazienza and Roger Mayweather fought. There was a lightweight, I think there was a flyweight world title fight, I think, from memory as well. And then, of course, they did a great job promoting that fight, by the way, because it was always going to be a mismatch. But they sold it that the big man against the little man. Leonard was going up. I think they fought at 168. It was for the 168 and 175 pound WBC belts. I think it was actually the first WBC 168 pound title fight. It would have been 1988, because Hearns beat James Kinchin for the WBO belt, and then Leonard beat Lynden for the WBC belt, and then took Lyllenden's WBC light heavyweight title as well. But I didn't know that, Big J. Thanks for that. All right, Drew. I get that people support their favourite fighters, but I'm surprised at how emotionally invested fans get. One of the biggest fan rivalries in modern times was Mayweather and Pacquiao. Yes, Drew, and that is correct. I mean, everyone was so passionate about it. You had the Mayweather supporters and, of course, the passionate Pacquiao supporters. A lot more Pacquiao supporters than Mayweather supporters. But, yeah, it was sort of split down the middle, wasn't it? A little bit like here in Australia with Mundine and Green. But, yeah, they do get in. Well, I think it's like a sporting team, Drew. I think people get invested in the teams and the fighters, and obviously comes out in their support. So, Tony, as it happens, I've got an OnlyFans account. I have for the last 4 years, and as of yesterday, I've earned $1.28. Did you see, this is way off topic here as far as this OnlyFans go. There's a guy, I think in America, is a bit of a whiz on the computer, and he had an AI-generated woman. So he opened up an OnlyFans account and had an AI-generated woman on there doing all sorts of things, and was earning $1 million a year out of this account. So if you think you haven't got the looks, whatever it might be, but you are a little bit savvy on the keyboard and a bit creative, then there you go. I'll tell you, there's a movie from years ago. It's called Simone. It actually stars Al Pacino. It's probably from 20 years ago. It might even be a little bit longer. And they forecast all of this because he was sick and tired of dealing with movie stars. This is Al Pacino in the movie. He's a director. Sick and tired of all the bullshit that comes with movie stars. So he actually created his own movie star on a software program and put her into the movies. Is that going to be something going forward with this AI stuff going on as well? Can you believe that was over 20 years ago? and the foreshadowing, is that the word? Foreshadowing that created with that by using AI 20 years ago when no one had even heard of AI. It was just a bit of fun. I'm sure they thought it was just a pie in the sky type of concept. And here we are 20 odd years later or more. And it's now probably going to be the way. But that's what this guy in America did, Tony. Again, I think he was from America. Just created an OnlyFans account, put an AI-generated girl in there, and God knows what he got her doing, but earning $1 million a year by doing it. Not bad, is it? All right, Batman. I'm leaning to a stoppage for Canelo. Much bigger guys have been put down by Canelo. Crawford has been hit flush numerous times against mediocre opposition. Yes, and that opponent there that I can never pronounce landed plenty. Yes. I think I'm not going to go down the track, Batman, of saying just because much bigger guys have been put down by Canelo, because it doesn't matter how big they are, they're still not Crawford. No one that Canelo that has been put down has been anywhere near the type of fighter Crawford is. So that's probably one thing. I'm not just going by the fact that they're bigger, so Crawford's in a bit of trouble. He has been hit, but I don't think... He say he's been hit flush. Yeah, I don't know. He has been hit, but like those really good fighters do, they sort of roll with the punches a little bit. I don't know. I'm not sure whether... See, Canelo, when he punches, this is what you got to look at. When Canelo punches, he likes to stop, plant his feet, and then load up. And the thing is, this is why Bivol and Mayweather had so much success against him, is that by the time he stopped, propped, loaded up, they were already gone or they were already punching him. That's why they had success. This is why Crawford is in with a little bit of a shot. Those much bigger guys you're talking about there, Batman, they were guys that would stand there and let Canelo stop and load up. Crawford's not going to do that at all. And if he does, he'll be leaning in, he'll be leaning out, he'll be moving to the side. I don't think he's just going to stand there and let Canelo hit him or punch him hard to the head or body. So I don't think you can sort of count that. But he has been hit, but can Canelo make him stop long enough for him to actually land properly? All right, we've got a super chat there from Andy. $10. Thank you very much there, mate. Sorry, I'll put it up there. There it is. Hello, Lynden and chat. I need to see Otoma to see if he takes a good shot or taken past mid-rounds. Bud has his own style. Still think it's about if he can hold Canelo off. Smash that like button, folks. Thanks very much, mate. Really appreciate it. Now I've got to go back and find my spot. There's a lot of comments in there tonight. Sorry, I'm a bit behind. All right. I think did I answer that quick? I did, Batman, I think. All right, Naz. Glad to hear Parker's next fight will be in Ireland. He'll feel at home there after a few camps now with Andy Lee. I hope it's Dubois. I love to see Parker get some redemption. Yeah, so if you didn't know, it's going to be October 25th in Ireland, of all places. Great for Joseph Parker. He does say, look, well, it's hearsay at the moment, but apparently he has said that it's going to be either Fabio Wardley, Daniel Dubois, or Derek Chisora. And based on Dubois' comments recently, Naz, it could be him. A massive fight in... does it make sense to have Dubois and Parker in Ireland, though? Maybe. It's the UK. I'm sure they'll love to see that fight. But doesn't make a lot of sense for either guy. This is what I spoke about the other day, one of the walking boxing episodes. Joseph Parker is on the verge of fighting for either all the belts against Usyk or just the WBO belt. If he loses to Dubois with no belt on the line, he gets nothing. He loses out. But for Dubois, coming off a second knockout loss to Usyk, why would he risk fighting Joseph Parker with no title on the line when he can build his way back up and probably get back in line for one of the vacant belts, or that's if they do come up. I don't quite understand it. So, but as a fight itself, I would love it. I think it'd be fantastic. I'm sort of, I don't know who I don't think Wardley's going to be the guy. And on the other hand, why would Parker fight Chisora for a third time? So maybe it is this one. I don't know. If it is, fantastic. But we'll see. Ryan, how are you there, mate? What do we got here? Hey, Lynden, hope all is well. In 2 weeks' time, you'll be sitting in the arena watching the Canelo Crawford spectacle. I know you're leaning towards Canelo, but which fighter are you rooting for? I will be for Canelo, Ryan. I'm a Canelo man. As I said before, I really admire Canelo. I don't subscribe to a lot of the theories out there with people that just hate on him. I just think he's been a great champion over the journey. He's done it the right way. He's come through all the ranks. He's won all the belts. What's he been undisputed in 3 different divisions, has he? Yeah. What was it, just 154 and 168? He didn't unify 160, did he? Or did he? I don't think he did he? Oh, I can't remember. But either way, it doesn't matter. Unified champion in multiple divisions, has fought and beaten, well, apart from Mayweather and Bivol, but some of the fantastic fighters he's fought over the journey. I don't think he's avoided anyone right up until David Benavidez again. I know that's arguable, but apart from that, fought all comers, and I just respect him a lot. Fought often. You don't get that often either with these elite fighters, fighting 2, sometimes 3 times a year. I take my hat off to Canelo, and I'm 100% a Canelo man, Ryan. I'll be rooting for him in Las Vegas. There you go. All right, Batman. I remember Cal Brook when he was washed and weight drained, still wobbled Crawford with a jab. I really wouldn't be surprised at all if Canelo stops him. Yeah, okay, yeah. That was the bubble, I think, wasn't it? Is that right? I think it was. Was that in the bubble during COVID? I think that the Cal Brook fight was. Batman says Nikita is definitely not better than Tim, just my opinion. Well, I'm with you there, Batman. I agree. All right, Big J. We've always had, we've always got along. Is that Chump McAllister? I'm wanting to get in the ring for a good flogging. Haven't spoken to Jay for a while. I'll have to give him a yell. Not sure if he's going to Vegas or not. All right. Okay. All right, Batman. Not a big fan of most boxing movies, Rockies aside, prefer documentaries. Well, that's one thing we 100% agree with, Batman. I'm not a big fan of boxing movies apart from Rocky. And for me, it just comes down to the choreography. That's what it comes down to. If the choreography is no good, then I don't rate it. Now, the average guy or person in the theater or watching it on TV probably doesn't see that. But that's the first thing I look for. Okay, well, how good is the boxing? I don't expect it to be perfect, but I expect some effort to be made in the choreography, and we just don't see it enough. I know we've spoken about this a lot over the journey, but movies like Creed, I just don't rate. The fight scenes and that are horrific. How can we see, what's his name? Michael B. Jordan trying to pass himself off as a boxer? I mean, it's laughable. Probably not as bad as Jake Gyllenhaal in Southpaw and Marky Mark in The Fighter. Ironically, those 2 movies, though, Southpaw and The Fighter, I thought the storylines were fantastic. I thought the actual story of the movie was great. But for me, that meant nothing because the fight scenes were so shit. I thought Russell Crowe was good in The Cinderella Man. I thought he was okay. But apart from that, Batman, not a lot to write home about. And that's the thing that makes the Rocky movie so special because he's got it all. He's got the story, but he's also got fantastic fight scenes and choreography. And more importantly, he's got the music right. This is what I keep saying. People saying that Creed's as good as Rocky, come on. Shocking fight scenes. The music is shit. That's what makes Rocky what it is. Not just the story, but it's the fight scenes and the music. And I think, as I said, I think The Fighter and what's the other one? Southpaw, and a few other movies that had great storylines, but I can't rate them because of the fight scenes. The best non-Rocky movie though, Batman, I think I've been on here and I've got an episode on this channel about it when I went through all the best and worst movies, in my opinion, the boxing movies, is The Great White Hype. You've got to see The Great White Hype. That's a comedy. They take the piss out of the sport. It is a masterpiece. So check that out if you haven't seen it. I'm sure you have. But anyway, I'm with you though, Batman. I 100% prefer documentaries as well. All right. Ryan, would it be bigger news if Crawford wins or Canelo? For me, it's Crawford. Would love to see it purely for his record. Plus, I'm backing Crawford in. Let's go. No, it's definitely bigger for Crawford, mate. As I said before, if Canelo wins, it'll be all the knockers out there. What do you expect? He's smaller. See, he's a cherry picker, taking smaller fighters and blah, 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 blah. It's a no-win situation for Canelo, in my opinion. If Crawford wins, well, it's a fantastic win for him and his legacy. Does it really put him up there with the likes of Leonard and Duran and Hearns and these types of guys? Maybe. Mayweather. I think he's still just below those types of guys, but still a massive win for him. Massive, massive win. Batman says if Crawford wins, he will what's that? Have had half. Hang on, I'm trying to read that right. If Crawford wins, he will have had 6 fights in 6 years. He's well preserved. I'll give him that. But as a fan, I don't want that route to win. Canelo been more than double the activity. When Canelo wins, here it goes. Hang on, next page. They'll plan another huge fight for the boxing business. When Crawford loses, he will retire. Even if he wins, he retires. Best for boxing, he doesn't, and he won't either, in my opinion. I think if Crawford wins, Batman will 100% be a rematch straight away. You can count on that. Too much money involved, and Crawford, he won't retire. He'll want another crack at Canelo's the payday. So I think that we'll 100% get a rematch. And if Crawford loses, I won't say he retires, although that's the most likely result. I don't think he'd go down to 154. It's not. Well, this is the probably thing. What probably leans more towards retirement. There's no one at 154. You would have thought that really sparks his interest. I know it's a hot division, but he couldn't get up from Madrimov. Would he really be able to get up for a Fundora or Ortiz, who'd be pretty dangerous? I don't think so. I don't think there's really anything at 160 that really excites him either. So who knows? It could be retirement, but if he wins, 100% there'll be a rematch, mate. All right. Anyone seen the Luke Rockhold KO? Wow, that was brutal. Looked like a crushed insect or something. I did see it on one of the social media channels. Batman, yeah. All right, Aaron Bonanno, Sydney. What did you think of Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn? And are you interested in the second fight they're having? Also, why does Fez stink? Who's Fez, Aaron? I don't know. All right. As far as Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn goes, loved the first fight. Didn't really see the need for a rematch. I thought that even though it was a good scrap, they would have, well, the only reason it's going to be a rematch is because of the money, of course. But I thought it was a good fight, a very, very good fight. But I thought Eubank won convincingly enough that there didn't really need to be a rematch. That was probably my first thoughts. And am I interested in the second fight? No, I'm not, mate. I think it'll be pretty much the same as the first. If not, if anything, I think maybe Eubank wins a little bit more comfortably this time. You might see Conor Benn maybe be a little bit more aggressive, but I think Eubank sort of showed that he's got the size and IQ and everything to handle him. Conor Benn's just one-dimensional, mate. He just comes straight ahead and throws bomb, has no defense, doesn't really set up anything with a jab. Footwork is shocking. Eubank has got some good skills. Not a big puncher either, although he can bang, but just a really good technically sound fighter, the bigger fighter, and I think he wins the second fight probably more clearer. And I have no idea who Fez is, mate, but does he stink? No idea. All right. Batman. Yep, this is Rockhold, is it? Yep, he folded like a Christmas card. Oxygen concerned. Corner, maybe retire and spend time with family and go fishing. Yep. Well, again, Tony, I got no idea who he was or is. So I got no idea who he's fought in the past and how many wars he's had. But as you say there, if he's been folded like a Christmas card and needed oxygen in the corner, then maybe it is time to retire. All right, Naz. Sick of PBC keeping the belt in-house. Guaranteed the winner of Fundora versus Thurman fights the winner of Charlo versus Spence. If it happens, losers probably fight each other as well. Good in theory, Naz, but hey, Charlo and Spence have got to make it to the ring first. They're a long way from that. And even Thurman has got to make it to the ring yet. I'm not so sure he's even going to make it to the fight. We're still, when is it, October? It's now start of September. So what are we, about 6 or 7 weeks away? I'm still not sure he makes it to the MGM Grand, Naz, if I'm being honest. I hope he does. It should be a really interesting fight. I think Fundora still wins pretty comfortably if you ask me. But as for Charlo and Spence, I mean, geez, Charlo hasn't fought for 2 years and Spence hasn't fought for over 2 years. So when you actually wrote Charlo and Spence, I'm thinking, hang on, that's right, Charlo and Spence. They've been out of action so long. I could not give two shits about that fight, Naz, about Charlo and Spence. As good a fight as they've been in the past, couldn't care less. If they fought tomorrow, I'd probably go I was going to say mow the lawn, but I don't do that in my own house. But but yeah, it doesn't interest me whatsoever, Naz, that Charlo and Spence. Would you say the winners probably fight? Yeah, maybe. But to think that Charlo and Spencer got to back up for another fight after this one might be a tall order, mate. So I don't know. But the losers, maybe, who knows? But you're right, they are doing that, the PBC, keeping the belt in-house, which does freeze up a bit. Are we actually going to see that going forward? TKO have got their belts tied up. PBC got their belts tied up. Maybe the others will follow suit. I don't know. But yeah, no winners in that situation. All right, Julian. Nikita's only had 10. I think it's 11 now, Julian. But his uncle Igor seems to lack experience at the elite level. Yes, that's been well documented, Julian. Big J. Finally, someone agrees with me. Jai's frame couldn't handle another 30 to 40 pounds. It'll show him way down, slow him way down and make him an easy target. He ain't no Usyk. Well, we don't know till we know, though, Big J. That's the problem. I think when Usyk went up, I remember a lot of doubters about him saying there's no way he's going to be able to carry that extra weight. He's a cruiserweight. He's a small cruiserweight. How's he going to handle fighting those big guys like Joshua and Fury and Dubois? Well, he did. Well, not so much Dubois because he come on later, but Fury and Joshua, no way he's going to handle those guys, and he did. So I don't think we can really comment on it until we see Jai at heavyweight. From all accounts, he does walk around from what I hear at about sort of 210 to 220. So, and if he sort of bulked up properly and put on another maybe 15 to 20 pounds naturally, maybe he could carry it. But I do, look, I'm with you there, Big J, when you say someone agrees with me as far as Jai not being able to go up and fight someone like an tournament. But again, I'll say we don't know until we know. Until he moves up and actually puts on that weight. Maybe it's not even that amount of weight. It could only be 20 pounds. But again, I don't think we can sort of come to any decisions until we actually see him or conclusions until we actually see him at the weight. So it does make sense in theory, but I want to see him at heavyweight before I make my call. Was that Julian? The Braybrook Hotel used to put on some great fights in the old days. Certainly did, mate. Well, that's where I had my first fight, the Braybrook Hotel. I remember, I think I've told this story before. I think I just turned 11. Just turned 11 years old. And I got in the ring at the Braybrook Hotel. And the ring was so low that everyone was smoking in the hotel. The smoke was just there. So, and I was trying to breathe. And my head didn't even come up to the top rope. That's how small I was. And I fought a kid who was a year or two older. He was a little bit taller than me. We fought 3 1-minute rounds. Didn't expect to get a fight. I went down there just in my bag and just to watch. My first ever fight night, and my trainer took me down just to show me and said, bring your bag just in case. Not very often you go down there and get a fight as an 11-year-old and weighing 34 kilos, but I did. I got a fight, and it was fantastic. It really was. But yeah, that was at the Braybrook Hotel, Julian. And I've still got my trunks down here. I think I've shown these before. Can you see them there? There you go. There's my nickname on there, Bubba. Oh, my first pair of trunks in my first fight. Can you believe I chose black and red for my first colours? Essendon. Oh, my God. What was I thinking? But anyway, they used to have all their fights were at the Braybrook Hotel back then, Julian. This is in, 84, 85 when I first started, 84, I think it was. Yep, and all the fights were there. But can you believe they used to smoke in there? And I still remember that being in the ring 40 years ago, being in the ring and choking, doing 3 1-minute rounds and being barely able to breathe because all the smoke in the air. It was crazy. All right, we'll move on. Enough of me. All right, Drew, for as good as Opataya is, he struggled a lot with a well-credentialed Breedis. Was Breedis to Opataya what Norton was to Ali, or did those fights expose some flaws? A big Jai fan. Well, we'll see, Drew. This is the thing. We will see. Breedis is the only guy that's even come close to giving Jai a fight. You also got to remember, though, that in both fights, Jai won pretty much every one except 2 or 3 rounds in both of those fights. The thing was that Jai did fade, and Breedis was able to come home. Especially that second fight. I don't think Jai lost a round up until round 10 or something, was it? And then he faded a little bit. First fight, of course, was the jaw. We won't know until we see, Drew. All these theories are great, but who knows? Jai might just be a whole different kettle of fish at heavyweight against, yes, he'll be carrying a little bit more weight, but who knows? He comes up against a heavyweight, so maybe he's just way too fast for them with his feet and his hands. Like a Usyk, like a Tama. And maybe it actually benefits him by being a cruiserweight who's moving up, like Holyfield and Usyk and these types of guys. Hey, because they've had an advantage with speed, with feet and hands. So you just don't know. Jai is a very, very good fighter, and I'm still going to back him to beat any of those guys, bar, of course, Usyk and maybe Otama's another one. I would back him to beat it straight into heavyweights, all of them except for maybe 2 or 3, which would be questionable. So that's my thoughts anyway. But I respect what you guys are saying on the other side, but again, we just don't know yet. Batman, Crawford isn't Mayweather, and it will show. Drew, I acknowledge how brilliant Canelo is, but there is a case to say he's never really completely figured out slick, technical, high IQ fighters, e.g. Mayweather, Lara, and Bivol. Yeah, well, he lost to Mayweather and Bivol. Very, very lucky to beat Lara. It's a good point, Drew, but will Crawford have the legs and speed at that weight to be like Mayweather, Lara, and Bivol were? We will see. He did give Austin Trout a bit of a touch-up, but of course Austin Trout isn't Mayweather, Lara, or Bivol, is he? So, all right. What's that? Shout out to Big J. He alighted, is that the word? The Zoo Hype train years ago. Yeah, he did. Batman, Billy Joe, technical, high IQ, slick, faster feet and upper body movement than Crawford. Very good point, Batman. The only thing I'll say to that, though, is up until he copped the one that broke his orbital bone, Billy Joe Saunders, I thought, was doing very, very well against Canelo. So probably goes against your argument a little bit there, but I'm with you. So obviously, offensively, has nothing to offer. This is Crawford. Very much unlikely Crawford in that sense. Oh, that was Billy Joe, was it? Yeah. All right, Drew, with all due respect, you can't compare Billy J. Saunders to Bud. The guy fell over the line against an early version of Eubank Jr. I actually was a bit of a fan of Billy Joe Saunders. I actually thought he'd give Canelo a really good fight. I sort of liked his style, but yeah, you're right. I mean, Billy Joe Saunders is not Bud, is he? All right, Batman. Eubank Jr. throws double the amount of punches as Crawford and fought at 168. Albeit he's practically done now. Yes, that's another good call. Will Eubank Jr. be next for Canelo? That's a big question too, isn't it? Richard, what were your thoughts of Rocky V with Tommy Gunn Morrison? I randomly watched it yesterday. Oh, did you? Rocky V. Look, the storyline wasn't too bad, which are very unbelievable, if you can say that in a Rocky movie, but I just thought the fact that they didn't actually fight in the ring just eliminated that straight away from any goodwill or any positive comments. Richard, to have that fight on the street under the train tracks there didn't make sense to me. Richard, that's what the Rocky movie is about. Rocky in the ring. Okay, maybe the directors thought, and Sylvester Stallone himself thought, oh, well, people just want to see Rocky fight. Does it matter whether it's in the ring or on the street? No, we want to see him fight in the ring. And it would have made the perfect fight, the perfect storyline, Richard. Is that after that fight he had, was it whoever he won the title off, Tommy Gunn, that they then, the climactic fight is Rocky getting back into training, going against all the advice and getting in the ring and knocking out Tommy Morrison in a fight, or Tommy Gunn in a fight. So that's where it lost all credibility to me, mate. But I was actually, I think if you watch my videos, you would have seen me in Philadelphia last year. And actually went right to that spot outside of Mickey's gym and that there, and where the bar and that used to be, under the train lines there, where that fight was held. It was amazing. I love that. And if you haven't seen it, check out, it's on this channel, my trip to the US last year to Philadelphia. I did the Rocky steps and went to all the Rocky filming locations. It was fantastic as a Rocky fan. But I hated the movie, Richard, Rocky V. I don't count it as far as the whole universe, but anyway. All right. G-Bags. How are you, G-Bags? What do you got? I thought Eubank Jr. put on a cracking fight against Conor Benn, but yeah, he does seem a bit washed. Yep. Richard says that AI OnlyFans bloke is a genius. It's a good idea. Excuse me, good idea. Batman, Eubank Jr. looked good in the Smith rematch, but his punch resistance seems like it's fallen a bit. Yeah, he does a bit, doesn't he? Looked good against Conor Benn, though, but we'll see what he's like in the rematch. All right, Big J. Canelo beats a living dog turds out of Crawford. It's a one-sided mismatch. Yep, okay. All right, Naz. Can't wait for Crocker Donovan 2. Donovan will dominate again and hopefully not get disqualified this time. Another Andy Lee prodigy. I'd be going the Rolly or Barrios route if I was Paro. Yeah, that'll be a good fight. What's that for the IBF belt, I think, isn't it, Naz? Crocker Donovan 2. I'm with you. I think Donovan wins that fight again. And Andy Lee, what a sensational trainer he is. Would you be going Rolly or Barrios? Well, yeah, I would too if I was Paro. Naz, definitely. Probably Rolly if I was going to choose one or the other. All right, Batman. I don't see Crawford as a defensive master. Throws up a high guard. Bivol has doubled the output of Crawford and takes shots much better. Does anyone believe Crawford goes 12 with better Bev? No, they don't. One thing I'll say there though, Batman's. I don't think you can compare Canelo going 12 with better. What's his name? Better Bev than Crawford going 12 with better Bev. Crawford is a 147 pounder who would have to go up to 175 or even a 154 pounder going to 175. At least Canelo is a 160 to 168 pound fighter. So going up for him to go up to 175 is a hell of a lot easier than Crawford going up, if that makes sense. So, but I don't doubt what you're saying there. Big J. I called Tim out as a hype train years ago. Not his fault, of course, but the media just built him up for a massive fall. If only they'd be neutral journos and not a bunch of fans. Yes, another good call, Big J. Batman says this is Canelo, I'm assuming. He's also much younger and box better opposition, amateurs and pros. Okay. Drew. Old mate Big J, I'm not so sure about your prediction playing devil's advocate. Canelo completely failed to make adjustments or claw his way back into the fight in both of his losses. Yeah, I agree as far as the Bivol one goes, Drew. I just don't think he did anything. I think he was just too exhausted to do anything, to be honest. I thought Bivol fought just the perfect fight against him. Didn't stand still, didn't run from him either, just in and out, throwing multiple punches. When Canelo was trying to rest, Bivol would punch. Bivol just overwhelmed him in the end. Mayweather's a little bit different. I just don't think he could do anything against Mayweather. I mean, whether he boxed or punched or whatever against Mayweather, he just had all the answers. So, but yeah, no, it's a good call. What's that, Shadow Boxer? To Big J, you're not exactly known for good takes and predictions. I'll let you guys sort that out. Batman says to Drew, do you think Crawford is near Floyd? No, I don't. I don't think Crawford's near Floyd. I think Floyd is a level above Terence Crawford. Andy, Bud has been tagged and rocked before. Canelo will be the hardest puncher he's ever been in there with. Canelo's been hit by bigger punches. We'll see. Yep, it's a good take there, Andy. I don't think many people argue with you on that. Carl says, Jai with extra weight on his hammer fist can only be beneficial. 20 pounds on his vest. Opatai will be happy to go up because he's an aggressive guy. Still some belts to get at cruiserweight. Yep. Another really good call there, Carl. That's what I said before. That's the way I see it too. Maybe it will actually benefit Jai by going up, and if he carries that weight okay, his movement, his speed, his power will be enough to beat most heavyweights. Batman. Bivol, like, really, this is comical to me now. I don't think I've seen a guy this overrated. Who did he beat? Name an elite fighter, as Canelo said. Well, he's beaten some elite fighters, Batman, I think. Do you agree that Errol Spence, I know people will say the car crash and the weight and all that sort of stuff, but still an elite fighter. Porter, Brook, that's probably about it, I suppose. But what's that there? Hang on. We've got a bit of a spat here between Big J and Shadow Boxer. Big J says, I predicted Tim's downfall, didn't I? And Shadow Boxer says, no, you said he'd beat Fundora easily. Well, there you go. Let you guys continue to battle it out there. Batman, where's Glenn, by the way? Canelo, not only the best fighter Crawford faced, the most experienced and highest weight. He'll need to be someone who's never been to win that fight. So overrated in terms of stock right now. You make some really good points there, Batman, and that's why we need Glenn in the chat to come back at you. Bacon and eggs, how you going there, mate? What do you got? I've got $100 on Canelo for the stoppage. $400 if he does the job. TAB. They're giving you 4-1 odds on Canelo for the stoppage. That is crazy. I think I might get on that myself. Holy shit. 4-1 odds for the stoppage. I would have thought they'd be pretty short odds. All right. Batman. In 3 years, his best win is arguably a guy ruined in a car accident who even before that went life and death with Sean Porter, who also gave Crawford fits. Easy money for Canelo. Hard to argue with you, Batman. Naz, what a movie. The Great White Hype. It is a classic movie, Naz, The Great White Hype. All right. Drew. Bud is not close to Floyd, but I definitely think he is good enough to beat Canelo. That said, the fight could go either way. But isn't it great how we're, like with these arguments going back and forth, this is what makes a great fight. As I said before, a super fight. When these types of arguments go on. Now, it's obviously been nice and respectful there. It's great. It's really good reading, actually. But this is what a super fight is when you have such a great argument either way. I think most fights is like, yeah, well, it should go this way or it should go that way or maybe it'll go this way. But for this fight, everyone's sort of grasping it. Well, actually, most people are staunch in what they're saying. There's a few that are in between, me included. But you get some staunch people either way. And that's what makes it such a great fight. What's that, Naz? Not a UFC fan, but the movie Warrior is one of my favourites. I'm not sure I've seen that. Is that the one with... Is it Joel Edgerton, the Aussie? I haven't seen it, Naz, but I'm thinking that's the movie. All right, Andy. Yep, everything you state is why I'm expecting Canelo to win. That's the Batman. Bud has an awesome skill set, but to get a W over Canelo would be unbelievable. Yes, it would. Drew, I guess beating Spence gave you that confidence. Do you usually bet on guys moving up 2 weights? I'm that never pays off. I think that's okay. I think I got that right at the end. All right, Richard. I rewatched Roy Jones Jr. versus Glenn Kelly, and Kelly had a good crack. He did have a massive crack, Richard. That's when Roy Jones Jr. was absolutely at his peak. It doesn't get spoken about enough, Richard. And look, it's probably, maybe I might do a video on that at some stage, the best performances in a losing fight by Aussies, because that would definitely be up there. All right, Batman. If Canelo loses to a 147-pound guy that fights annually, whose best win is a broken Spence or an 11-pro fight Madrimov, he should 1,000,000% retire immediately. Yes, but he won't. Yes. I'd give Munguia a good chance of beating Crawford. Very good chance. Much bigger. Throws double the amount. Double the amount of shots, let alone Canelo. Yeah. I think Munguia's actually a really good fighter, Batman. And not sure he'd beat Crawford, but he'd probably go close. He's a good fighter, Munguia. Big J. To be clear, only Tim's level of opposition. This is what bagging, I suppose. Never his ability or a personal attack on Tim. I said that if Tim got on the inside with body shots, he'll beat Fundora, but he didn't do that. What's that? To Batman. Your blind confidence could well be the pride before the fall. Both guys have had ups and downs. You seem blind by Canelo-coloured glasses. Batman says, nice try. Don't bet on guys after major car accidents or guys that get wobbled by Ugas. Carl, Crawford close points win. Can he pace himself through the 12 rounds? Could come down to fitness and body punches. And how he carries the weight, Carl, that's probably my biggest question mark, is how does he carry the weight? That, for me, is the whole basis of what I'm going to base my theories on. How does he carry the weight? If he carries the weight well, an upset could be on the cards, although I'd still probably go for Canelo. If he doesn't carry the weight well, then that's where Canelo could get the stoppage. BJ Jones. Oh, this is Jones. Played with Kelly for 6 rounds and finally put him out of his misery in the 7th, but he had a crack. Yep. Batman to Drew. Cool story. I look forward to saying, okay, you was right. And brother, if he doesn't win, isn't the end of my world. Calm down. Yeah. Andy, Canelo versus Bud should be lit. As long as it lasts, regardless of outcomes, enjoy it, folks. Let's just hope there's not like a head clash and it's over in 2 rounds, Andy. That would not be good. Although it'd be good for Canelo and Bud because I'll get another payday. All right. I think I'm almost caught up here, but we'll see. I think. Sorry, guys. I've lost my way here. All right. I'm back. All right, here we go. Batman Spence, who beat Cal Brook, who had his face broken by Triple G earlier. Okay, cool. This is Shadow Boxer to Big J. That's just one of your bad takes. You also said Jai hasn't had his chin tested. Fought with a friggin' broken jaw against Breedis. Okay. It's getting a little bit spicy. It's good, though. We've got 2 separate little arguments going on here. We've got Shadow Boxer and Big J duking it out. And we've got Batman and Drew going on about the Canelo and Crawford. All right, here we go. Says to Drew, I'll be betting on Canelo. I'll be at the fight. It'll be sweet when Canelo wins. Not sure what that's... Oh, okay. Yep, Andy. Yep. All right, Batman. And when it's all said and done, Crawford would have dared to be great. That's the nice, I suppose, the line to throw out when you've been beaten, Batman, is I dared to be great. Yes. And he says, will be a battle of counters for a bit. Both Bud and Canelo, good counterers. Is that a word, counterers? Both good counter punches, we'll say there, Andy. What else we got here? That's Drew. To Batman, it doesn't matter how many solid scalps I mention when it comes to Bud. You seem to be the kind of person who will always poke holes in his resume no matter what. Okay. And to that, he's going up 2 weights after looking really average at 154 against a guy with less than 12 fights who had very little pro experience. It's silly to pick Crawford, and you will see levels. That needs a hashtag there, Batman. Hashtag levels. Ryan. Forget resumes. Styles make fights. It's a 50-50 fight until it's over. Then it's hindsight, which is 2020. Good call, Ryan. May the best man win in regards to Canelo Crawford. Yep. And this is why we again talk about it, guys. While the staunch arguments going either way is, again, this is why it is a super fight. I'll tell you what, you all make some good arguments, although I have to say, if I had to pick one so far, I think Batman, your argument's pretty compelling. Pretty hard to argue against. Let's see what Andy can do. Accomplishments matter most. That's what I respect most, to be honest, but I still like to see quality fights, especially if you're the defending champion. Yep. Or I could refer, this is Drew, I could refer to Canelo's miserable performance against School. I honestly don't buy into the weight issue like you do. Crawford was already struggling to make lower weights. Another good argument there, Drew. Big J, at the end of the day, Canelo Crawford is a blown-up 154 versus a blown-up 135-pound fighter. I don't think Canelo is a blown-up 154-pounder, Big J. I know he started there, but he always did struggle to make the weight. I think he's more of a 160-pounder, though, but he is obviously he has gone up to 168, but I think he's more of a 160, and I still think Crawford is still a natural sort of, maybe he's more of a 140-pounder, maybe 147. But I think at 135, he really struggled to make the weight there. So he's probably between 140 and 147. Either way, a significant weight advantage to Canelo, no matter how you look at it. Batman says, even Crawford said he couldn't have this fight before Spence. Do you know what a cash out is? Canelo wins easy work. What's that there, Tara? Yes, Naz. I don't love the UFC either, but Warrior is one of my all-time favourites. Oh, Tom Hardy was in it. Okay. Always helps when the actor actually knows how to fight. Yes. Good call, Tara. You know your stuff. All right. We're getting to the end here. I'll let you guys continue to duke it out in the chat. All right, Batman. Crawford was fighting Avanasian. I know I've probably got that wrong. On Bounce 3 years ago. So 2 fights in Crawford's world. Where else could he go other than a cash out, daring to be great? Shadow Boxer. Yes, after the Breeders' fight. Okay, this is the Big J again. He said he hadn't had his jaw tested. When that's exactly what happened. He fought with a broken jaw. It's okay to admit when you're wrong. You'll be okay. Polly the Farmer, what do you got here, mate? Love the Canelo Bud chat. I'm keener on the Inoue MJ fight. Yeah, well, that's sort of been forgotten about a bit, hasn't it? This is, again, what's good about this fight. Now that September sort of ticked over, now it is all about Canelo and Bud. But I'm with you there, Polly. The Inoue MJ fight should be competitive. Still think our man Inoue will get the job done, but MJ not to be slept on either. And I know I was about to say that is the end of the chat, but it looks like another one there. Anyone know the real reason the Zerafa Tim fight did not happen years ago? Well, it's pretty obvious. Oh, okay, the real reason you're going to say. The official reason, of course, was that it was during COVID, and Michael Zerafa said that he'd been given advice that if he went to Newcastle, he would have to stay and go into a hotel or something. What do you call it? Help me out here, guys. It's been a long night. He would have to go into a hotel away from everybody. I'll just say that. And for however amount of time it was, and they wanted to get home, and the team couldn't get there and couldn't get back, and all this quarantine was the word I was looking for. But I think it was a lot of advice. Michael did then come out a couple of years later and say the advice that he got from his team was wrong and he shouldn't have listened. But I think it was said to him at the time that if they went there, that the other thing that I think Michael said as well, that his team apparently said to him was that at one stage the Zerafa would had to have gone by himself. They wouldn't allow his team to go, which is complete bullshit. That would never have been the case. Then No Limit have come back and said, well, we offered you a private plane. You didn't want it. So it went back and forth. I think in the end, Michael is correct. I think he received really bad advice. And I think that's actually been proven because he did have a fallout with his team at the time, which is Team LaBruna. And there was legal threats and challenges and all that sort of going everywhere. I'm not sure if it's actually still going at this stage, actually. But that's apparently what happened at Hearns, is that Michael Zerafa was told all different things and he decided to pull out. And to this day, I bet he's absolutely kicking himself because not only did he forego a massive payday, it was also a massive opportunity to get to Tim before Fundora and Murtazaliev did, and who knows where he could have been now. So that's what happened there, mate. All right, Drew. The fact that so many people are so divided in their predictions is no coincidence. Yep, that's what I said, Drew. That's why it's called a super fight. Big J, in regards to PBS on Channel 7, the Premier Boxing Series, if Robertson and Winwood won their fights, it would still be around. Ace Boxing had no bankable star to build off. Ogden also lost. Yeah, no, it's a good call. Yep. But was it about that, though, Big J? I don't know. I would have thought it was more about not necessarily building their own stars. It was just putting on just really good boxing shows every month. That's what I thought it was. But, yeah, I didn't know it was all about building their own stars. That's sort of what No Limit have been entrusted to do. I thought it was just about putting on, really good fight nights in conjunction with everyone. I don't know, but it's a shame it hasn't happened. And you're right. Taylor Robinson, Alex Winwood losing didn't do them much or many favours. And obviously Rocky Ogden also lost as well. All right, Batman. That's two reasons. One, Crawford has fought so many believe he's Superman. Odds are great for Canelo. Talk as much as you like. I have no doubt Crawford isn't winning this fight. Okay, we'll just continue on there. What else have we got? All right. Batman. 90% of guys picking Crawford media-wise are American. No surprise there. Oh, geez. Now, come on, Batman. Yet when the crowd will be 68,000 strong, rooting for Canelo to stop Crawford, it's probably going to happen. Either way, Canelo will win. Do you really think Canelo's going to win, Batman? Tell us why. I'm just joking. All right, Drew. We've got about 5 minutes to go here, guys, so keep the comments coming. He says to Batman, I can't wait for you to be pulling all your hair out when Canelo falls behind and abandons his jab like a deadbeat dad. Okay. Funny, so much talk of skills. Canelo much, much better defensively. It is an underrated part of Canelo's game, Batman. He's very good defensively. Crawford, he doesn't get hit clean. Crawford will be hitting air while Canelo is landing. I guarantee Canelo will be more accurate on the night. Some good arguments there. What else we got there, guys? Any other... What else we got happening there? I think we're almost at the end there. Just reading what everything happened today. No, nothing's happened today in the news cycle either. All right, guys, if you've got nothing else to add, I suppose we might finish a few minutes early. You've got about 30 seconds to give me something else, or we're going to end it here. But what's that? Batman Drew sounds hilarious. Just won't be happening, will it? Yep. Batman, let us know where you're going to be for the fight, mate. You're going to be in Vegas for it. You never know, we might sort of cross paths at some stage, we'll see. But, yeah, really looking forward to getting over there. I think I said I'm walking boxing this morning. I'm heading off next Monday. And, yeah, it should be fantastic. Really looking forward to getting over there for the fight and seeing how TKO boxing does it. What's that, OG? If anything, Canelo has been taking the piss with his last opponents. But he's still been fighting mandatories, though, OG. This is the thing. We mightn't like the opponents he's fought, but they're all been top-ranked guys, all mandatory guys. So, and at the time, we didn't know that Belunga was pretty average. He's beaten, Callum Smith, Jaime Munguia. He's beaten some pretty good fighters, John Ryder. I suppose neither here nor there. So, look, I just think he's beaten most people that's been put in front of him. So, I think he's done all that can be asked for him. Even William School, to get that IBF belt back from him, he had to do it. So, what's that, Batman? Yep, I'm in Vegas, leaving on the 9th. Got decent seats as well. Yep, good stuff, mate. Ryan says, hope Canelo wins for your sake, Batman. Yeah, well, here's the thing, Batman. If Crawford upsets Canelo, then you're going to have to come on here. I'm sorry. You're going to have to come on here and apologise to whoever it was, Drew and everyone else that you've been getting stuck into all night. So hope it's a great fight. It 100% will be, Ryan. I guarantee it will be good. What's that? Shadow Boxer. I appreciate your commitment to these Monday nights. Into my arguings, never with malice, by the way. Always having a good time. Mate, I get that. It's no drama. And I think whether it's yourself or Big J or Batman or Glenn, who's conspicuously absent tonight, sort of let Batman almost have his own way. Drew's giving him something to think about. But it's all, as long as it's always in good spirit, I welcome it, Shadow Boxer. I think it's fantastic. And I really like to see all the different points of view and opinions and everything else. And then we can all sort of make our own judgments after that. But it's fantastic. Any word on the No Limit Melbourne card for October, says Kyle. October 11. Doesn't like it's going to happen, Kyle. I hope you're well too there, mate. Doesn't like it's going to happen because if Nikita fights Michael Zarafa in December, I think they're looking at, November, December, all those fighters that would be on the October 11 card in Melbourne will be pretty much swallowed up and put on that one big card for Nikita and Zarafa. That's what I heard anyway, that Melbourne card will be scrapped. Isn't it funny, though, they haven't done, well, they've done that one Melbourne card. I don't get why they keep going. Obviously, New South Wales, where they're from, Queensland. But Melbourne is a massive fight town. I still can't get my head around why they've been here once. And when they came here, Joseph Parker's a big name, but why? Actually, Nikita was on the undercard of that, wasn't it? So I was going to say they haven't really brought anyone else big down here, but they did with Nikita. But yeah, there's some pretty good fighters out there at the moment. Michael Zarafa would make sense to be on that card in October if he doesn't fight Nikita. But yeah, I'm just surprised they haven't put more cards on in Melbourne, which has always been for me the fight capital of Australia. Obviously not anymore, but Ryan says he's backing Batman's knowledge. Canelo will sign his concrete shoes for Batman after the loss. Okay. Tony Harrison went life and death a few weeks ago with a guy rated 562 on BoxRec. I didn't see the fight to Hearns, but yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. He didn't look good his last fight either, Tony Harrison. But Crawford won't win. That's a promise. Okay, well, that's going to be about it. We're about a minute early, but hang on, what do you got there, Batman? I bet and win on boxing. Oh, I can't really make much sense of that, mate. But anyway, he's giving all love to Drew. That's good. All right, guys. Well, having said that, I'm going to call it a night. So make sure you watch every morning Walking Boxing. It's on YouTube and Spotify. It's up by about 10 o'clock in the morning on Spotify. It's probably up by about 9:30 on YouTube. So that's every day. Again, watch out for my... actually, this will be the last show until I get back because I'm actually gone next Monday. So this will be it until I get back. But yeah, keep a lookout for my daily vlogs. Every single day I'll be giving an update of what's going on. The videos normally go for about 20 minutes. Probably about the length of a Walking Boxing episode, but that's what I've been up to for the day. So make sure you watch those and even go back through the back catalogue. I watched one last week. I've never really watched them, to be honest, but I watched one when I was in Tombstone last week. I thought, these aren't actually too bad. So I get on there to pump my own horn anyway. So get on there and have a look while I'm gone, guys. What's that last one from OG? I'd love to see a boxing event in the middle of Green Island win a promotion for Australia. Would be great, mate. But need some coin to make that happen. So to everyone that's tuned in tonight, hope you enjoyed the show. Look forward to having a complete rundown of my trip away when I get back, which will be, 2 weeks' time. So it will be the 15th of September. No, I'm not. Sorry, and I'm not back until the 16th. So it'll be the week after. But when I get back, I might do what I did last time and do a show the night I get home, which is Tuesday the 16th. We might do a show that night, so keep a lookout for that. So in the meantime, hope everyone stays safe, enjoys the boxing in a couple of weeks' time, and look forward to seeing when we get back. Thanks, guys. See you then.